If there is a reality to culture, where does this culture reside? Does it dwell in the mind, or is it a matter of practice? To what extent is culture shared? Through which approach can it best be understood and translated? These are large issues. Wagner, one of the most persuasive in his critique of the idea of shared, stable systems of collective representations, suggests that cultural meanings are not constituted of the signs of conventional reference, but instead live a constant flux of continual recreation. First, while it is meaning systems that is their primary concern, it is cogent to stress that these systems are creations of the anthropologist and not of the people who supposedly follow them. The usual claim is that, for the people, the system and the mental representations that comprise it are unconsciously followed. What, we may ask, is the relationship between meaning and practice, between mind and body, or between mind, body, and spirit, concept and performance? The plea to recognize embodied meaning, that is, to wed concept and practice, the perceiving with the acting agent. We might say that there is no such thing as a culture, or rather that culture should not be a noun, but a verb, to culture or culturing. As Ingold notes, it might be more realistic to say that people live culturally rather than they live in cultures. Anthropology is not an innocent endeavor, a point the debate makes abundantly clear. At the same time, it raises questions that appear to threaten the very political and academic viability of the discipline, at least as practiced in modernist guise. One thing is certain, anthropology today is not what it was a decade ago. To a certain extent, the subject is now in a period of confusion. The claim is that in its representation of other cultures, anthropology has transformed the other into an anthropological object, and in so doing has reified, homogenized, and exoticized the lives of other peoples. And Salmon suggests that in this act of silencing the other, the ethnographic other becomes, as object, a resource for the self. Thus, we have science, they have magic. Or we have history, they have myth. We have philosophy, they have beliefs. We have high-tech agriculture, they have subsistence practices. Or we have theater, they have ritual. To think holistically is to see parts as wholes, to try to grasp the broader contexts and frameworks within which people behave and experience. One such framework is culture. Anthropology is concerned not only with holistically analyzing the place of humans in society and in nature, but also and especially with the way humans construct cultural frameworks in order to render their lives meaningful. In my own fieldwork, I once asked a family member waiting for their relative to die at Mukti Bhavan, the hospice in Varanasi, "Do you believe in spirits?" He replied, puzzled, "Are you asking, do I believe what spirits tell me when they talk to me?" For him, spirits were not a belief but an unquestionable relationship, part of the unity of his life. Anthropology encourages this kind of holism at several levels. The first is interpretive, as we have just exemplified. One tries to perceive and understand each experience holistically. The second level is a way of doing the first. It is the most distinctive kind of anthropological research. It is termed ethnography, which means a description of a certain way of life, death, and it is based on fieldwork. Anthropology teaches several lessons, which may seem contradictory, but in fact are interrelated. The first lesson is holism, that we should try to view wholes. The second is that, try as we might, we cannot succeed in grasping the whole. Hence, we must distinguish categories. The third is that we must guard against concretizing any category into a thing. We must always remember that it is simply an abstraction from the whole. But the fourth lesson is that, in avoiding the fallacy of misplaced concreteness, we should not commit the fallacy of misplaced abstractness. Our label for a phenomenon is an abstraction, but that phenomenon can nonetheless have reality and power in experience.